Hello, everybody. This is Moogle Babble, episode 7. I am Josh. I am joined by my brother, Liam.
Oh.
And Mr. Bryant. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just got some Guinness and just kind of hanging out after watching The Walking Dead.
Right. You must not have work, because last time we did this, you said you were too old to drink. If you had work the next day or something.
I do have work tomorrow, actually, but it's not until later in the day, so I'm not old today, I guess.
Well, if it's not until later, then you're good.
Oh, for sure. If it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, then, oh man, wouldn't be doing this. I guess we'll start this off. What have you guys been playing?
I'll let Bri go first.
You guys have to ask that question?
I think throughout this podcast, we may hear some familiar noises from some Destiny game.
There's a little raid going on, yeah. Trying to help out some friends that leveling up characters and whatnot, so...
So how are you sitting in that game right now? I heard that you were within a couple of trophies of having a platinum.
Yeah, I'm within one, actually. It's
Pretty amazing.
I've heard that game is actually pretty hard to get a platinum in, too.
It is, yeah. It's definitely not something you can do in a day, that's for sure.
Nice. Well, that's cool, man. I can't say I know anybody who's probably as a devout fan of that series. Most people...
Well, that game, not serious at this point.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I mean, I actually heard that they're already talking about making another Destiny game. So
They're already,
Yeah,
Bungie said
they
they're
are.
already working on the second one.
So at this point, I can say series, bitch. So, brother, what have you been
I
playing?
wonder how much the sequel is going to be a letdown for people, though. They're going to have, like, all this hype again, and then it'll
If
be
they don't-
released, and
If
people
they
will
don't
be
fix the
upset.
first one, I'm not going in to the.
Ooh.
Yeah, I won't. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's not a whole lot wrong with the first one, but it's stuff that they could easily fix, and hopefully they do. I mean, we've talked about this before.
Oh yeah. So, what have you been playing, Liam?
I have Borderlands I'm finishing up on. I've already beat it, but I was trying to get a couple of the last trophies. Unfortunately, much to my dismay, one of them is to complete a quest with 3 other people. And unfortunately, I also got the trophy for beating all the missions. So my dilemma here is that I have to run back through, get up to that mission again, and then I have to wait for 3 other people to be playing the game.
That's
To
kind
get
of a
this
messed up trophy.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed off when I read about it. It's like, because it's a hidden trophy, so it's not like you can look at it and then be like, oh, okay, so this is what I have to be ready for.
Right, you'd have to go to one of the sites that show what all the hidden trophies are, and then to know on this specific mission, you have to have 4 people in a group.
Yeah, well, what happens is you have to do this. It's a very small mission, and I don't understand like the significance of having multiple people for it. But once you get that, then you get the trophy for that. And then the other one that I need is for using all of Claptrap's special ability. Because when you use his in particular, it's kind of a random thing, like it'll be this or that. So that's probably one reason why I don't really care for his character in the game.
It's no definite.
He can be overpowered for sure, but at the same time, it's just like if you're like needing to have an offense ability and you go to use his special skill and all of a sudden like you're bouncing around on a rubber ducky. It's like, dude, this isn't helping me at all.
Right.
So
especially if you're doing one of the harder raids in the game, I mean, that's no good.
Actually, the raid bosses in this game are so simple. I did it by myself on my first try.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about like, you know, difficulty or anything else just because I can beat everything in the game by myself. Whereas Borderlands 2, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Other than that, I might start up a new console game this weekend. I'm not sure which one I want to start yet because they're really, I have like a ton of games. I mean, everybody knows this story, but I have a ton of games. I just don't really know what I want to play or what I'm in the mood for. Like, you know, I have the Batman games from PlayStation Plus, but it's like, do I really care to play those? Not really sure.
Well, and especially because how big of a fan of the Batman series are you?
Right. So, I might start up another console game, and then handheld-wise, I'm playing Freedom Wars, which...
I was gonna ask how that was.
Well, unfortunately, it's one of those games that, like, it goes under the radar because there's so many other big-name games coming out that, like, you know, you go to IGN, and you'd be like, hey, what about Freedom Wars? They'll be like, Freedom what?
Well, they actually covered that game. That's the only reason why I heard about it is they did cover that game.
I don't think they gave it jack crap for coverage, whereas like, you know, for other stuff like Assassin's Creed, it'll be like, now you can have a blue belt instead of a red one. And it's like,
right.
Actually, all the reviews I've seen for the new Assassin's Creed have not been all that good.
Well, I heard it's really, really glitchy, and I'm like, okay, it's mainly, I mean, it's semi-co-op, but it's, you know, known for its campaign, and yet it's glitchy. That doesn't make, like, the campaign is glitchy from what I hear. Not
The
even
sad
like the
part to
co-op
that,
necessarily.
is that's pretty much how freaking all of the Assassin's Creed games practically always are. Is it's glitchy, it has problems, people hate it, but then it's just like Call of Duty every single time. Like, people will sit there and they get all excited for the new one that comes out, they rush to get it, then they hate it, and then the following year a new one comes out and they'll be like, oh yeah, I loved the other ones, and it's like, no you didn't, you were complaining about it for like 3 months.
Right. Actually, that's another one it's kind of interesting you brought up, the new Call of Duty. I know somebody who actually went and picked it up, and he's been playing it, and I mean, I don't know how true it is.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. He has been a fan of the series for years, so, but he was, of course, not like a lot of people, not crazy about Ghosts, but
Yeah.
he's saying that, and I don't know how true this is. He feels that this one has been the best one since Modern Warfare 2.
I've read a lot of complete opposite responses, but
Well, how many of those
it-
are going to be people that are probably just baiting, like, oh yeah, because I mean, I think it's gotten to the point where for a lot of people, it's just cool to hate Call of Duty.
Oh no, this is a girl that like she lives on Call of Duty. So it's, you know, with Call of Duty, in her opinion, I'm gonna take it, you know, a lot more personal than say like IGN because she spends so much time playing it. But the counter argument to that one is that she's also somebody that plays a lot of it on player versus player, whereas I wouldn't really care for that. I'd be wanting to play the campaign and probably only that. So
Well, and that's what I've heard actually, is that the campaign was actually really fun. It's really cool. It's supposed to be pretty cool. I don't know yet. I will be borrowing that game once he's done and giving it a shot myself, because I have to imagine, like most Call of Duty games, you'll be able to beat it within 5-6 hours. You know,
Everybody I've talked to that has it has said that it's taken them about 10 hours.
wow. See, so
Yeah.
there's that. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to throw it under the bus because I haven't played it, and we all have very different styles of games that we like. And so I feel like instead of just dropping it off the planet, I'm gonna at least give it a shot. And worst thing that'll happen is I'll play it and be like, it's.
Well, see, the thing with Call of Duty is that I don't hate the game per se. What I hate is the type of market and fan base that it generated.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that due to the popularity of that game, that's what brought in so many like other FPS games. Like that's the main focus with a lot of companies, which sucks if you're wanting to play something more like solo one-player action game or JRPG. But on the plus side of it, it does make it easier to sit there and have like your friends and family sit there and play a game with you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even Ghosts, I knew quite a few people who went and picked up the game. And, I'm going to throw a bone out there and just say that the story in that game really kind of sucked. But I actually really did enjoy doing the PvP on there. I had a lot of fun doing, but that was, sometimes I did it where it's like actual player versus player, but then they also had a mode that you could set it up so it was just player you against all NPC. So my whole team was all just the computer, and then all my opponents were computer, and to me that felt like Counter-Strike, and that's a game I love the shit out of. So when I'm able to have that kind of feel again in a game with the tuned up graphics and all that, dude, that was fun.
Right. See, I have a couple different issues with first-person games because of the fact that there's just so many of them, and unfortunately, a lot of times it's like we'll play through one of them, get through it as fast as we can, and then we move on to other games. So it's like you don't really become proficient in one game. It's like you get the trophies or you beat the campaign and you're done with it. And that's fine and dandy, I guess, for some people, but games for PS4 that are upcoming, I want to get Division, but if you ask me, do I want to get it because of one-player gameplay? It's like, no, not really. I want to play it because of the co-op capabilities of it. I'm not looking at it like, man, I'm going to play this game and I'm going to play by myself and I'm going to go shoot some things. I'm like, no, I'm going to play that game with Josh and Brian. It's going to be awesome because we're going to shoot stuff and yell at each other.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of PS4, well, yesterday was its birthday, 1 year. And now what do you guys think? So far, I've read a couple different opinion-based reviews, and one of the things I read was that they feel that the PS4, for the way it's selling and the progression that it's selling, that it's actually going to overtop the Wii. Now, I personally feel like that's kind of a stretch.
That's lofty.
Yeah,
that's way too much. Like the Wii sold
millions,
a shit ton because of the fact that it appealed to elder crowds, but also had that gimmick for motion control. So.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I do feel that the PS4 is a strong system, and with the new application that they're going to be putting out next year that replaces cable, man, they could be really onto something huge where they're taking it from just a gaming system more in the media direction that I think Xbox wishes they could go in, and probably inevitably probably will, but the PlayStation, they're the first ones to throw that idea out there.
Well, I just hope that even though there's that whole let's have this TV feature and blah blah blah, I just hope that it doesn't lose direction of the games. Dude, you guys have this whole share play stuff. You have PlayStation Now. Focus on that stuff, then go to the other crap. Because I'm not buying a PS4 to sit there and watch TV.
No, but I think one of the reasons that they're probably doing this is because the Xbox already has.
Right.
So it's their way of, you know, combating the media center capabilities that the Xbox has that the PlayStation, you know, falls short on, which I wouldn't ever buy a game system because it works well with movies. I'd buy a really expensive Blu-ray player for that. But
Right.
it's, you know, in terms of on-demand content is kind of the future. And that's, if you know, if they're offering an on-demand television service, then they're going to get a lot of publicity for that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my fiance and I were talking about that today, and I was like, you know, if they have that for a reasonable price, it's stupid not to do. I mean, just for the record, if anyone was curious, it's called PlayStation Vue, which is VUE. And they're talking about right off the bat, 75 channels, which, let's be honest, that's probably what most people need. You know, I mean,
I think that's a little bit much. I mean, when you sit there and you think about it, most people just prefer the convenience of like watching shit on Netflix, and I think at this point most people just want like HBO, and that's about it.
Well, from my understanding is that's what it'll be. It'll be more of an on-demand service where you subscribe to the channels you want. So rather than paying an $80 cable bill for the 4 channels you watch, you can
pay $20.
Yeah, you'll pay a $20 bill, and you might only have 5 channels.
Oh yeah.
That's, you know, those are the channels you watch regardless. So that was always my gripe with cable. It's like, why the fuck would I need 1,000 channels?
I don't need 700 channels just to play music, you know. Yeah. And that's cool. You really hit it on the nose. For us, you know, personally, you know, all we really need is like USA, Sci-Fi for wrestling, Sprout, because my son really enjoys that channel. But you know, oh man, I do. It's the bomb. We do watch a lot of the Food Network. We both really enjoy watching stuff on there. So, but I imagine there'll only be a couple other channels, really. You know, and if we can get away with just doing that, you know, awesome.
Yes, right. But I feel as though like Triple H should come in here and be like, you would pay $20 for that. But through the WWE app, you would pay only $9.99.
The problem with WWE's $9.99 app, though, I mean, don't get me wrong, that is one hell of a deal. For $9.99, you've got all the pay-per-views ever. That's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The only problem I have, and really, this is seriously the only problem I have with the WWE app, and it's not even really their fault, is I really wish that they had up-to-date on Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
You know, they are like 2 months behind on it or something ridiculous. And I know it's because USA and Sci-Fi have like so much of the rights where they will show it on there, and people, you know, probably go to USA just to watch wrestling, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to easily give that up. You know, especially for the low cost of $9.99.
Are we doing a plug here? Is there going to be an ad at the bottom of this video on YouTube? I'm sure.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's almost as if you're trying to say that we're trying to advertise or something. Gosh.
This reminds me of Wayne's World when he's doing the Pepsi Cola.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Dude, that shit's funny to watch again, like, because everything is so old now. It's like, dude, look at that fucking bag.
But
he holds up like the Doritos. You're like, dude, seriously?
Right. But I think it's really, I think that Sony in this 1 year has accomplished quite a bit with their system. And really, if everything that they've promised does happen within the next year, with all the games that are coming out, they really do have I would say, a pretty bright future ahead of them.
Well, goddamn. I've always thought that Sony, they have like kind of a slow start, and then they just, once they start going, they just really kick it up.
Once they hit that stride.
even with like PS3, you sit there and you think like, you know, the early years there wasn't too much of like super brilliant games, but then you sit here and I was telling Kiki, I was like, man, if you think about it, like that last year, practically before PS4 came out, you had games like Tomb Raider, BioShock Infinite, and Last of Us, and it's like that was a pretty good year, you know.
Yeah,
It's a lot
yeah.
of good games.
I think it's fair to say the last 2 years before a system or before the new system comes out is when you're, you know, gonna have a ton of good games, and yeah, they're gonna talk about coverage for the new system and you know all that, but that's cool. Whatever.
Well, it's like they by that point of, you know, when they're starting to close out the system and work on towards the new one, it's like the developers really know the technology of what they're working with, so they can sit there and make these fucking bomb ass games.
Well, then they're also making you stay with the system. You know,
Mhm.
look at the fact that BioShock right there. That's a game that is, I would say, fairly popular. Or excuse me, Borderlands, and you know it came out for PS3 only. How many people do you think have bought that game? You know, because they played the first two and loved them. I don't know. I'd say that Sony's pretty smart. I mean, they're putting out really good games for both systems yet.
Well, as long as like they kind of keep like a variation, because like I was saying earlier, it's great to sit there and see like the JRPGs, but there's so few, and you know, I feel as though there's still too much focus on FPS games, and I can understand because that's what sells, but there is other people out there that want other games.
Right.
Like, I really want to see like another Devil May Cry type of game. That would be totally awesome. Like, and you know, DMC2 for PS4. I'd jump on that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't really announced one yet, though, for the PS4.
I know Capcom is just, I don't know. They're just
What have they?
they're weird.
Well, I was gonna say, what have they done lately? But apart from like Resident Evil Revelations or
Yeah, it seems like right now like there's a lot of focus on the Resident Evil games. There's like the Resident Evil HD, and then there's Revelations 2,
yeah,
both of which I plan to get. As
Yeah.
long as the Resident Evil 1 remake, as long as the controls are like fixed, because I don't want to do that, you know, standing still and walking in a 360 circle just to shoot a zombie thing. That's
right.
no.
right. I thought one
Yep.
thing I thought was cool about that game is they said that you're going to be able to play it from both vantage points. You can either do the RE4 over the shoulder cam, or you can do the you know, original fixed camera on, you know, certain angles or whatever.
Let's be
Why
honest,
would you
no
do
one's
that?
gonna play it like that.
Maybe like some hardcore, you know, people who
What
want
for
to play it.
punishment, people?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I hate today, and I want to like hate my life even more. I'm gonna play this game with the original controls and get frustrated. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no thanks. It'd
worst,
be
worst controls in a game ever was on an old Sega Genesis game called Landstalker. I don't know if you guys remember that one or not.
not off the top of my head.
That was bad. It was bad.
But yeah, it would be. I think Capcom's really kind of dropping the ball right about now. I mean, as many good games, good franchises they have under their belt, and it just seems like they're not really doing anything with them.
Yeah, I would love to see like another Dino Crisis game. That'd float my boat. Fucking killing dinosaurs and shit.
I would like to just see another Mega Man game, but that's me.
I still want to see another Mega Man Legends. I think we talked about that before.
Oh,
They have.
that could always be brought up just because it's so true.
See, I still wonder if they're saving some of these games like that. Another, like, you know, really good Zelda, another really good Mega Man, another really good Metroid, like any of these. I mean, you know, that recent Zelda game that came out.
Oh, Hyrule Warriors?
Yeah, the Hyrule Warriors isn't exactly, you know, it's just kind of more of like it's within the genre,
A
but
filler.
yeah, exactly. It's within the genre, but it's not it's just something to keep people busy in the meantime you know,
Right.
so they can play as familiar characters, but.
I actually did a little bit of research into the Mega Man Legends. Well, we all have said, you know, why isn't it on the network? You know, and I did do some research on that, and I found out why it's not. And that's because of licensing and with like the original voice actors and whatnot.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
No,
But-
seriously, like on a completely random side note, this woman the other day, Kiki and I were at a buffet, and she was yelling at this dude for closing the blinds because the sun was coming in and it was hitting his kid's face and it was annoying them. So he closed the blinds. This woman was chewing him out, called him a fatso and to fuck off. And then the manager came up and he was asking if there was a problem, and she said that she wanted the blinds open because she has diabetes.
What?
We're trying to figure out like the entire reason.
I mean,
like we're trying to
is
figure
your
out
body
like, why the hell do you need blinds open for diabetes?
if your body converts sunlight into insulin, like during like somehow photosynthesizes, then I could understand. But
Then I think at that point we need to bring that lady in and do testing on her, so that way we can figure out how the hell she's harvesting it and turn that into a sourceable income for everybody. No sleep, photosynthesis. No food, photosynthesis.
We were dying in laughter. It was horrible. We're trying to not make a scene from laughing, but you know, it's like how do you like contain yourself when you hear stuff like that?
Right. But no, anyways, yeah, before we got into diabetes. No, yeah, it's because of with the voice actors and stuff. It's just a big hairy mess. It's kind of like the reason why Brave Fencer Musashi.
For any game though, like there's
anytime
a lot of reasons for that for other games.
They have that for Brave Fencer Musashi as well. Whereas in the Japanese market, they're able to have Musashi on there because they can easily get a hold of the original voice actor. Like, I don't care, whatever. It's harder to do with the Americans and to track these people down, and it's just a big hairy mess.
Down, freaking going on the hunt there.
Right. But I mean, it does suck because I personally wish we could see some of those games on there, but you know, it is what it is, and that's the reason why I tell people, you know, nowadays, hey, if you have those old systems and those old games that you loved at one point, don't get rid of them, because the fact is you never know.
Well, I think like as Bri had said to me when we were hanging out, you know, there's a difference between keeping a game because of like the novelty to it versus like use. Like if you have all these games but you're not playing them, then why really keep them, you know?
Well, and I see it because it takes space and stuff. It just sucks when it might not be a year, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, but then all of a sudden you're like, man, I really want to play that game, and you don't have it anymore, and that sucks. You know, and you go online and you're like, oh, it's $300 for this game now.
But how many times do you realistically like sit there and, you know, you don't have anything else to play that you've bought recently, you know, and you're just like, hey, I randomly want to play this PS1 game. Like, it doesn't happen that often. Like,
you think about the memories.
As much as I want to play Xenogears, I don't play Xenogears because of the fact I sit there and say, well, I have all these other games that are like more modern that I still have to play.
Right, and you know, and I know exactly what you mean. I mean, there are those games that you think about in a fond memory, for example, Mega Man Legends. You think about it like, man, that game was a lot of fun. But are you really heartbroken because of the fact that you can't play it, or is it just one of those, you just think about it as a fond memory and that's it?
Well, yeah, but like I said, are you realistically going to replay it versus one of the several games that you get from like PlayStation Plus? Looking around at my game collection, there's all these boxes of PS2 games, but I haven't played any of them in months or years. Some of them are still in plastic wrap,
But then you remember, like, you bought that game and you were so excited, like, I'm gonna play this game and it's gonna be the shit, and I just gotta beat this other game I'm playing first, and
Yep, and then it just downward spiral. I just get distracted from all the other games that I have, and
So in other words, we all just need a job playing the video games that we already have. That we haven't played.
right.
right.
It sucks because, like I was saying before, though, you sit there and you play one game, and you're either gonna play it at a minimum level, or you're gonna be such a completionist nerd that it's like, oh yeah, even though I have like freaking 30 other games to play, I still have to play this game because I'm trying to get this one trophy, which is like do some remedial task, and I'm just gonna spend my life doing this remedial task to get one trophy.
Speaking of which, and it kind of goes along with everything that we were saying about, buying games and not playing them and finally getting them out and all that crap. So, and it's kind of funny because I never mentioned what game I've been playing.
This is true.
You don't play games.
No, I'm not a gamer at all, actually. I just I like to fool people and like say I'm a big gamer, but really I just don't play any games at all. And
Josh just likes to sniff new video games. He just buys.
I go to the Let's Play videos and pretend that I'm playing them. I get my controller out and everything. But I finally.
Such a lonely life.
Right. My future in-laws actually got me Final Fantasy 13, the HD remake, for Christmas last year. And I finally really got it out and was playing it. And I'm at the end of the game. And I was like, well, I'm going to work on these trophies and, try to get some of those knocked out. And I gotta say, right off the bat, some of those are just a severe pain in the butt. Like, the Chocobo racing, I did it once on the PS2, well, maybe a couple times, to beat that 0-0 time.
Yeah,
Fuck all of that shit. Seriously? That is a bullshit trophy. It could go fuck itself right to hell because, yeah. And then the other one I was not, that I'm like, you know what? This trophy's full of bullshit. Is you have you effectively have to beat all the Dark Aeons to get the Penance, I think its name is, to appear, and then you gotta beat Penance. Yeah. Fuck all that shit too. Because
the trophies for that game, like I don't mind a bit of a challenge, but then there's just like, seriously, this is kind of lame.
Well,
I have other stuff to do.
Let's be honest. Okay, in that game, we'll just say, hypothetically speaking, you go the distance and you get you get your sphere grids filled out, right? So your guys are like, they're packing a punch. Okay, let's say that you have the weapons that break damage limits. All right, you're knocking out basically 99,000, right? You go into the fights with those Dark Aeons, they can still rape your ass. I mean, yeah. It's not even, there's times where I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be dying. I really should not be dying here. And yet, these like, especially the Magus sisters, you have the one that if she touches you, you immediately turn to stone and shatter. So it's not like you turn to stone and you can have the time to remedy it. No, you immediately shatter. Okay, well that sucks balls. But let's not forget that when you fight the Dark Aeon sisters, you can separate them. You can run away, and that way, and during the chase, the one by one, they will like stop, and so that way you can fight them one by one, which is cool. That still isn't good enough, because you get through. Okay, that first one, she can be a royal bitch to you, because each one of them have. I looked it up. They're about 2 million, 1 to 2 million hit points. So, you know, when they can't take any status effects, you can't do quick attack. I don't know. I'm like, guys, this is kind of over the top here. When you have characters that should be, that you can go to Sin, you can go to the end boss in the game, you know, and, well, essentially, I've always looked at Sin as kind of the end boss, because you Yevon's just kind of, you have auto life. So you get to Sin, and if you can nuke his ass without even blinking an eye, but you can't defeat all these other guys, and then you still have penance to fight, that's some bullshit. So
I think sometimes they make there is such a thing as a video game being too difficult. That's for sure. I've had some trophies and stuff like that where I'm like, you know, it's like, imagine a racing game where they want you to beat this race in 35 seconds and it takes 45 seconds to do a lap. You're like, did somebody actually read what they were making this trophy out to be? Like, I don't think they understand that this isn't possible. So,
well, difficulty in games isn't always too bad. With Freedom Wars, there's been moments where it was pretty hard. It's a fun game, but if like your assistant gets captured, and it gives you the option, like you can either wait for them to return to you, or you can go and save them. It's just like, if you try to go to save them, it's like, oh my god, get ready to turn red because you're gonna be yelling at your Vita. It is ridiculously hard, but in a way it's also really rewarding, because like when you beat it, it's like one of those moments where you're just like jumping up and hands up in the air like, fuck yeah, I'm a fucking god.
But the problem is when you have those kinds of trophies that are like accidental, that it's so hard that you accidentally get it, and yet you can go, or you know, there's just so hard, and you go on the forums and everybody is like, yeah, no, screw this trophy, it's luck that you will get it. It's only luck that will get you this, and it's like 1 in 2,000 that you'll actually have this happen.
right.
Like, at that point, I feel like as a developer, you should be saying to yourself, well, okay, these trophies are actually kind of meaningless. You know, unless, you know, like, I mean, yeah, with the PS4 release, they had the thing where you could buy the things with your gold trophies.
You know which ones
but
I hate the most, to be honest? The trophies that I think are the worst and most stupid are ones where they want you to do some random ridiculous task that has no point to the gameplay and no reason to be there. Something like jump. There in Borderlands, there's one that's like you have to jump on a jump pad, spin 360, shoot an enemy with a sniper rifle without the scope.
well, it's kind of like the. Do you remember in Saints Row 4, there was the one trophy where you had to go up on that one really high point. You had to fly across the entire map without touching the ground once, and you had to land in that reactor. I remember doing that one. I'm like, this is the stupidest trophy I've ever seen, and you know, for as much headache as it gave, and it was just a bronze.
Right.
That's what pisses me off, is some of these trophies that are, you know, like, okay, Final Fantasy 13, there's another one. If I'm not mistaken, to defeat penance, you get a bronze.
Yep.
Like, what the hell's that shit all about?
Right. But, you know, what can you do? You know.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I've really come to the point where, as much as I like getting trophies, and I like to think at times that I really am a trophy hunter, I don't want to focus all of my time and energy on getting trophies in something where, yeah, they really actually don't matter at all.
I still like to try to shoot for them in some games because of the fact that it can be a little bit fun. But yeah, if it's like either a game I don't really give a shit for, or if it's something ridiculous, I'm like, nope, sorry.
Well, yeah, and it's cool to have the trophies that will make you want to play the game. I mean, especially if it's a game that you already love. It gives you a reason to keep playing and to be like, oh yeah, so I have a platinum in this game. And that just shows like, oh, well, yeah, this person really got into this game and, you know, wanted to play it as much as they can. And, you know, that's fine. But I think we've come to a point where it's like you're focusing so much on getting trophies sometimes.
You're not playing the game.
Yeah, you're not playing the game. You're just so focused on getting something that doesn't really even matter for anything. It's like, you know, think of all the games that we played when we were younger, and we never had trophies. You played the game because it was fun.
Well,
You know?
technically, yes and no. Like, for, you know, a lot of the other games, you really didn't get trophies, but you know, you look at something like Smash Brothers, even though people say, you know, they didn't play for trophies, it's like, but wasn't there technically a trophy system in Smash Brothers?
There is, yeah, absolutely, and you are 100% correct.
The difference between that and like now is because there's a network for it that you can sit there and pull up that list.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I do feel like, yeah, it is kind of cool sometimes to show someone, in your case, you could pull up your trophy list and say, yo, bitches, I have a platinum in Skyrim. A lot of people, I still feel probably can't say that. And so, yes, there is a certain degree of something that's kind of cool in that, but how many times do you play a game?
How little of a life I have.
Well, yeah, that too. But how many times is it, to be perfectly honest, you go to play a brand new game, or a game that's on the PlayStation Network. You load the game up. You start playing it. How many times do you load the trophy list and say to yourself, oh, well, there isn't that many. I could probably do this. Or
well, I've grown a lot better with it where I don't even look at the list until I've put in a few hours, and then I'll take a glance and be like, you know, how hard will it be to get these other trophies? And the reason I've started doing that as opposed to looking at the list first is so that way I can sit there and evaluate how I feel about the game. I did it with Freedom Wars. I didn't look at the trophy list until, you know, I was doing all these tasks, and all of a sudden I got a silver trophy, and I was like, damn, like, what's the list look like for this game that I'm already getting a silver just for derping around?
Right.
And when I saw the list, it was like, oh, these aren't too hard. I mean, there's multiplayer ones, which I don't know how I'm going to get unless other people play it, but
I was actually thinking about picking that up, so you may have.
it's pretty fun. It's, if you like Monster Hunter type of games, then that's basically what it is. It's Monster Hunter, but with like story.
Nice.
that's always fun. And from the sounds of it, you have quite a bit of free reign in your character design.
Oh, dude, like, this game makes you realize, like, it's kind of a funny game to describe to people because of the fact of, like, what happens in the game, and it's like trying to make you think outside of it just being a game. What happens is you have your character at the beginning of the game, and you're fighting a giant monster who hits you and you lose your memory. And this is in a world where, like, you have to fight for resources and everything else. And you wake up and all of a sudden your government is charging you a 1,000,000-year sentence in jail because you lost your memory. And you're like, damn, like, seriously, that's fucking ridiculous. But then it gets worse from there because as you play the game, you might get sentenced even more years, like 10 to 50 years, just for doing stuff, because the game wants you to feel as though you're at the bottom of the barrel and you're jack shit to the government. And
Isn't that the truth anyways?
But that's what this game is trying to, like, get the point across to you. And it's like, you have to earn the rights to do this and that. Like, seriously, this is how bad the game is. At the very beginning of the game, if you take more than 5 steps, you get 10-year sentence added to your million years. If your assistant says, hey, you look tired, maybe you should lay down. If you hit yes, all of a sudden you get 20 years because you're not allowed to lay down. You have to earn the right to lay down. Like, seriously, you have to earn these points, and then you get this list, and it will say, like, the right to lay down. And once you unlock that, then your character can lay down.
Wow.
I've sat there and I've gotten out of my cell, and I ran for more than 5 seconds. I got 10 years for that. I talked to a person of the opposite sex. I got fined for that. And it just constantly hits you with all these fines, and you're like, God damn! Like, seriously, where are my rights?
Dang.
And then one of the other things that it does to you is that it's like you have like yourself and your other prisoners, which are, you're all called sinners, and then there's the civilians, which are, you know, people in dressier type of clothes and shit like that, and they will talk down to you like you're basically shit on shoes. Like, I told you what to do, you have to do it, blah blah blah, and you're like, damn man, back the fuck up.
That's no good. I mean, it sounds like it'd be kind of fun, but... And how much is that again?
It's actually pretty cool because they didn't dub the game, so that means they didn't have to put a lot of money into bringing it over. They have... The game is all subtitled, but the game is only $29
Gotcha.
because of the fact that they didn't have to dub it. So
Nice.
without having to dub it, they didn't have to put the money towards that.
$29 is definitely
Not
a
bad.
fair asking price.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Especially and if it makes you pick up your handheld again. I mean, we all three of us have Vitas, and where I feel like I play my Vita so I can play some of the older games. I mean, I still play some of these newer ones, you know, but for the most part, I use mine to play like Final Fantasy VII and whatnot. So to have a different game to, like an actual game made for the Vita to play is kind of nice.
Yeah, I play Freedom Wars when like I'm at work, and then like I said, I either might start up a new console game this weekend, or I might just sit there and play that game. You know, try to get extra stuff for my character. Oh, that's another thing. Since it's like Monster Hunter, you have your one town that you're in, and you get these tasks to go out and kill like these giant monsters, which you go out and do. And it's pretty fun. If you guys have watched Attack on Titan, what happens is that you can shoot like this grappling hook out, and you could drag the enemies to fall onto their face, or you can zip line up to like their shoulders and start hitting them with your sword. And what happens is like after the fight, you get like all these items and weapons that you collected from the monsters and whatnot. Unfortunately, because of the fact that, again, you're scum of the earth, because yeah, you have this giant sentence on you. A lot of the items and weapons get taken away from you. You have to give them to your government. Think of it as like when you get your paycheck and you have to pay taxes. That's basically what this game is saying. It's like,
Yeah, but do you get to choose what items go, or does it just take them from you?
what happens is that it'll give you your list. It'll say like 10 items, and it'll show something that's in red, and it'll have a check mark by it automatically that you're going to donate this to your government.
Oh.
And if you uncheck it to keep it, then you get years fined to you, because you're basically resisting the government.
No, and I'm going to assume that the point of this game is to get it from basically your years that you have down to 0. I'm assuming.
Yeah, for what I've gathered so far is that you're supposed to try to get it down as much as you can. From what I saw, like of the trophies, I don't think you can get it down to 0 unless like that, like last part of the game. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you defeated so and so, and now there's no more government, or so I
Right.
don't know. I've not reached the end of the game, so I don't really know what happens. But I know it's like you get a bronze for bringing it down to 900,000 years, and a silver for 600,000, and a gold for 500,000. So guess I'll have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
I've read people that they were grinding on the game so much that they actually reached platinum before the end of the game.
Nice.
Like, damn, how does that work?
And hey, if you're able to put, if like I said, if the game is that fun, then sweet.
I think
But-
it's a lot of fun. I know, personally speaking, like I've sat there on my work shift, and I'll sit there and I'll be playing it for a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, time is in. And I'm like, oh, I haven't been.
Sounds like Brian's shooting a machine gun of some sort.
No, that's you might be hearing my heat or something like that. Just kicked on.
Oh,
It's kind of loud. Sorry.
no, yeah, it sounded like a machine gun.
Furnace, machine gun, fairly,
Same thing.
fairly similar.
Nice. Well, on top of some of the, all this fun stuff with the gaming world, one of the things that I'm pretty excited about, and I wanted to talk about a little bit was World of Warcraft. Just put out their
Crap.
haha.
Warlords
They
of
put they
Draenor, whatever it is.
Yep, Warlords of Draenor came out this year or this week, and from the reviews I've read, awesome. They really feel that Blizzard kind of captured that essence of going back to the Outlands, and it's just awesome if you can play.
Right.
And
I've heard there's like a 6,000 person waiting queue or whatever.
yeah, it's supposed to be pretty ridiculous. I personally, I have it on queue. I have the game or the expansion. I just don't have the, I just haven't put time on it. I'm broke. So, and plus I know that at the beginning of any expansion, the servers are bogged down. Now, when I played Cataclysm, when that came out, I don't remember having any issues. I was able to get on no problem that day and play. And even Mists of Pandaria, like when that came out, I was able to get on that first day with no problems. But the people that I know who have been, on for this new one, they have all told me that, trying to get on to play right now is insanely difficult. We're talking up to 2 hours having to wait.
Wow.
Yeah, having to
I was
queue
actually
and
told that you know how the Master Chief Collection came out recently, right?
oh yeah,
I was told the same thing with that. I saw that people were waiting at least up to 3 hours just to get into a match.
see, and
What's
that's
the
just
point?
nuts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would just go play something else. Like, I waited an hour to try to get into the Evolve Alpha. I got in the first night, and then the second night, it was, for whatever reason, just taking forever. So I just, after an
See,
hour, I
I
was like,
really
"Ah,
wish instead of sitting there and doing the way that they do for these alphas and stuff, they should just sit there and make it like a public thing. Like, if you want general opinion and like hear a large response, then you gotta make that stuff like open to everybody, not just like, oh yeah, here's like the exclusive club sort of thing.
They might, with the beta, they might open it up.
Well, and I feel like they need to kind of brace their servers for more people to get on,
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
because it is very frustrating. especially when a game comes out. And I would have thought that by now Blizzard would anticipate that somebody getting on after an expansion, your server is going to be bogged.
No, they're just like, whatever. We don't care. You're gonna play our game anyway.
Well, it's just me, but starting to get irritated by all these half-finished games that come out.
I think
they're
that's been
halfway
like
done, and
how,
they're rushing them to gold so they can just put it in print and get it out, and then they're like, we'll just send
We'll
updates
fix it in the
later."
patches.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we'll fix it later. It's like we could be selling copies right now. We'll just fix it later. That's like having a movie come out in the theater and you go watch it, and you're seeing like bloopers and edited scenes right in the middle of the movie. You're like, what the hell? Like, it just completely takes you out of that environment. You know, the world it's supposed to take you in. All of a sudden something like that happens, you're just like sucked back into reality, and you're like, wait a second, this is not supposed to be happening right now. It's completely taken away from, you know, enjoying this game or something. And it's kind of I don't know, I think they're just trying to rush it. They're trying to get video games out.
especially
They're just
with
trying to make sales.
especially with Master Chief Collection, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and WoW. It's like all these big games, and all I've heard so far with their releases is like all these different issues that have been going on with them. And it's like,
well,
maybe you guys shouldn't have rushed to push these games
well,
out.
in all fairness, I mean, yes, we definitely know that with Assassin's Creed there have been issues with that, but with World of Warcraft, the only issue I've heard of is, yes, people are trying to get on, and you know, that's to be expected. I mean, with any expansion to any game, especially an MMO, they're going to be bogged, and you know, with a promise like that they threw out, yeah, it's going to be nuts, because people are going, oh, well, maybe they finally fixed all the bullshit that came out with Mists of Pandaria, and they're coming back to the game. That would be no shocker to me, because I'm right there with them. And the fact is it is hard to, when you have a server, you have how many servers that they have, you know, and how many millions of people that could be saying out of, let's say right now they have, I don't know, just throwing a number out, 7 million subscribers that are still there. But then with the promise that they gave to us, there might be 1 million, 2 million people who are saying, oh man, they're really going to make this happen? So they're coming back and they're going, okay, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And also all these people are wanting to play. It's no wonder that the servers are bogged down. However, if that's the only problem that I'm hearing of is the servers, but any review I've read is people saying, well, yeah, the game is fun though, and you know, right off the bat, they do offer some really cool stuff. Okay, if you get the game, boom, you're level 90 right away. You can start with, you know, Warlords of Draenor expansion. So boom, you're into it. And from what I've read, like, okay, they still kind of have, you know, your typical MMO stuff, like right from the get-go, but they also have all the really cool stuff, like, you know, your factions are running at each other, you have armies and fields and just cool shit. And also, you know, anybody who was there for the Burning Crusade expansion, you know, one of the craziest things about that expansion is going through the Dark Gate. And as soon as you come through, you've got a legion standing there in front of you, and from what I understand, in this new one, they did it again, except they upped the level of craziness. So, coming from somebody who has played the game and invested a lot of time into it, I hear that, and the only bad thing I've heard is the servers. I think that's pretty badass. And, you know, I look at it as, hey, if I give it a couple months, a month, 2 months, I don't know, let it kind of die down a little bit, I am excited to get into the game again. You know, whereas you look at Assassin's Creed, where we've all seen the photos that have gone online of, you know, of the technical issues they've been having.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, it's still one of those saves where it's like, I think there should have been a little bit more time put into all of them, but they had wanted to get all these games out right now because, you know, obvious holiday season.
Holiday season, yeah.
And if Blizzard had waited to release that, you know, it would be like a bad point because right now with everybody wanting to spend money, it's like, okay, well, this is the opportunity to sit there and release something, as opposed to, hey guys, even though you're trying to still heal from your holiday shopping, here's this expansion in March.
Well, and to be perfectly fair though, Blizzard always releases their games around this time. But it's no different than Call of Duty.
Right.
Call of Duty has always been November releases. You know, that's just them. That's just what they do. And yes, it's because they're going to catch it, you know, the holiday shoppers. You're going to have those people, the teenagers, or, you know, it doesn't matter, that, oh, well, hey, the new Call of Duty's out, I can ask for that for Christmas, and people are going to go and buy it, or they're just going to go buy it themselves, you know, because this is the time of year that they seem to think we all have money, which I think is a joke, but,
Money.
yeah, no shit. So, you know, it is smart on them, and, I mean, it's like you said, though, I mean, when are they supposed to put it out? January, when everyone's like, dude, I'm fucking broke.
Exactly.
So, and in the summer, you look at any MMO, in the summertime, the players decrease. It's just a fact. Because there's so many people that are like, well, it's nice outside. I want to be outside. Or it's your parents kicking you out of the house saying, it's nice outside. Go outside for once. That's,
Get outside, bitch.
you know, to go get
What is
fresh
this
air. And
outside you speak of?
I know, I hear it's terrible.
Yeah, it's when I woke up and saw snow, I was just like, I'm gonna stay inside today.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, so really this is the perfect time of the year to be a developer and to put out a game. It's just, it is what it is.
It's good and bad, if you ask me.
But, I mean, but like I said, though, and with Assassin's Creed, yeah, they kind of just fucked up.
I think
they put out an unfinished game. There's no doubt.
There's 2 points of that's a good release window. There's obviously fall because of all the people wanting to spend money, and you have all the kids and other non-kids who are like, hey babe, you know what would make me really happy for Christmas is you know, this game that I wrote on this piece of paper, and if you can get the special edition,
That's all I want.
But yeah, I mean, there's fall, and then if you ask me, even though like summer does have people being outside a little bit more, I think having a game like right at the end of spring, right at the beginning of summer, is also a good idea, because even though you do have people that are going outside quite a bit more, you also have people that are taking summer vacations or going out, you know, like traveling for a little bit, and you know, they might want to sit there and bring their PlayStation or their Vita or whatever else with them. So I think it's like those two windows right there are perfect, but you know, having a game right at the end of summer is like, why? Or, you know, randomly in March, it'd be like, dude, that's kind of stupid. Like February maybe is a little bit more understandable because of the tax returns, but
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct. If you're to put out a game, and I wouldn't say February, I'd say more March, because then yeah, you have this money and you're like, yeah, you know, I have all this money, I could spend a couple bucks.
But that's something that's just kind of like teeter-totter, like, you know, it's way too iffy and too risky.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean, and hopefully, you know, the stuff that has been happening with these, especially the games that have come out lately, I do hope that they get those fixed and whatnot, because it would suck to go off and spend $60-$70 on a game and, you know, having to deal with all that crap when it's like, no, you bought a game because you want to play it, and if you're having the technical difficulties, it just sucks, you know. And I hope that Blizzard addresses the issue with the servers, so that way the people that, you know, went and got that, they're able to play, because it does suck. You cannot play the game at all. It doesn't matter if you have the expansion or not. You cannot play that game. And that sucks when you're paying out $15 a month on it, and like, oh, you have a, I don't know, you're a parent, you work full-time job, you come home from work, and really the end of the night is like, you know, you get your kid to bed and you're like, oh man, I can finally, you know, go play a game and stuff, and you go and,
but
oh, sorry, dog.
I think that's how Bri has had with Destiny, because I've seen it numerous times where it's like the servers are down. So it's like, man, that would suck if I was wanting to play Destiny, and it's like, oh, I can't.
It hasn't happened too often now, but it did toward the beginning. Yeah, and that's, you know, again, just poor preparation on the part of the developer in terms of, you know, getting the expansion ready or getting the servers ready. I don't know if it's a lack of demand, or I'm no server expert. I don't know the first thing when it comes to video game servers, so I'm not sure if it's like...
It's a lack of love for the players by Bungie.
Yeah, I mean, no, they love their players because we buy their games, but...
Out of curiosity, are you starting to see a decline in people being on there, or...?
Yes and no. It depends on the day. I'd say overall, yes, but you still have those days where, you know, I'll have 30 people on playing at once or whatever. Out of 7 pages of friends, I'll have, you know, 2 full pages where it's nothing but Destiny, which is nice.
Man, you really did some networking with that game.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, like, even just on our group page, it was like, you know, 1 second, Bri is like new to there, and now he's like the spokesperson for Destiny. Like, oh, I have an issue with Destiny, or I have a question, go ask Bri, he'll know.
I just read a lot. And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, to your point, Liam, you always talk about how much more fun it is to play these games like this, or, you know, World of Warcraft, or The Division coming out with other people. You know,
right.
occasionally you want to get in and you want to play it by yourself, but more often than not, you want to get in and, you know, pop on a headset and sit there and chat with people while you know, run through and shoot other people.
Especially so if you meet a lot of like-minded people who are just really chill and not, you know, 14-year-old teenagers, but, you know, guys that you're like, you know what? I don't know this dude. We've played a couple games together. They know what they're fucking doing. They're not going to, you know, just troll and wipe us for no reason because they're, well, that 14-year-old kid. You know, they're just another dude who likes drinking beer and playing a game, and they're pretty cool. So, I mean, I've had the same thing happen playing Diablo. I mean, a couple of guys that I've met on there that, you know, just really chill, and they happen to also be parents, and, you know, so it's just like, oh yeah, my kid, man. You know, let's go kill some shit. Dude, where'd you get that staff? That's cool. You know, but that's the fun of, you know,
conversations. We have kids, so let's go kill stuff because we have kids.
I'm mad. Let's go kill Diablo in the worst possible way. So,
yeah, I feel like part of like the reason I look at some games nowadays is because of the multiplayer capabilities of them, but I'm more wanting to be like co-op multiplayer versus like player versus player. I'm
PvP multiplayer, right?
Yeah, because, you know, like, I don't want to sit here and, you know, I go to work and I have to deal with, you know, being attacked all night, and then get home for the weekend, pop in a game, and it's like, rather than, you know, having a chill game session with friends, like, I'm sitting there and getting my ass handed to me. Right? That's not therapeutic to me. That's frustrating.
Oh, trust me, I know. I try to avoid some of the PvP matches if I don't have a group, because I mean, when we go in as a clan, it's rare that we'll lose a game, but if you go in there and you're unable to communicate with people, which is one of the patches that's coming out soon, actually, they're finally going to put in like voice chat with PvP, so you can actually talk to the people that you're not necessarily in a clan with or a fire team with. But yeah, either way, it is painstaking to constantly get your ass handed to you after a long day, and that's not exactly what you want to do.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it gets you uninterested in the game, and you just end up putting it down and like, well, fuck this. Especially in your case when you're like, I've already played through this game. I have beat this game. I beat the raid. You've done essentially everything you could possibly do in the game to this point. And so sometimes you might feel that, I guess I'll try PvP for a little bit. And if you're getting your ass handed to you, you're gonna be like, fuck this, I don't want to play.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, you have one of those good days where you're going on and, you get beat here and there, but you're also, doing all right yourself. You're gonna be like, oh, well, this is kind of fun. And so, well, sweet, guys. Well, this has been fun. So, this is the first podcast that we've really done, in what, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
Apart from Liam's solo podcast.
Yeah, which I did accidentally delete that. I was so bummed. I was so mad because I wanted to put that out for I don't know, an April Fool's Day or something. I don't know, because it was a short one. We tried to do a mini podcast that was about, what was it, maybe 15 minutes long. And because he had to go to work, and I was like, well, dude, we got to get something out. We haven't done anything. And so we did this quick podcast, and for some reason it only recorded his part. It doesn't have me talking at all. To make it worse, we actually did do a podcast about 5 days before that with Kiki. And it was a full-length podcast, and it didn't record a single damn thing. And so right there was one in a mini that we couldn't get, and I don't know why, but my recording stuff was just not working right and being stupid. But apparently now it's cool. And if it's not, I'll cry.
Well, in other words, if this episode never comes out, we know what happened.
Essentially. And I'll try to get this one posted as quickly as I can for everybody because it has been so long, and I would like to maybe think that someone's like, hey, what are those dipshits up to?
Should advertise on GRD.
Go on, call Free Beer and Hot Wings and be like, oh yeah, go listen to this podcast, and they would probably come listen to it and then make fun of us for a good solid 5 minutes.
You know what, man? That's publicity, though. No, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Next thing you know, you'll have like 1 million people watching it. You'll be getting calls.
Yeah, these guys are stupid.
And hopefully one of them's Triple H, so that way we could get that endorsement,
Right.
Or we'll get paid for all the advertising that you guys just did.
for $9.99.
Or he'll sue us.
Yeah, one or the other. I did not give you permission to speak of this.
Yeah, if anything, you guys are getting people to go away from the WWE Network.
Yeah.
We
This is
can
what
get
people-
Paul Heyman to sit there and introduce us. That would
my
be the
God.
greatest thing ever.
I would just listen to that alone for
Ladies
hours.
and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and my clients, Moogle Babble, are here to talk about video games and bitch about it.
And wrestling whenever they can.
Be like, dude, that's awesome. Here's
Right.
here's $20.
For your 2 minutes of time of talking, I will give you whatever you want. Here's $20 and a loaf of bread.
Yeah, right. You'd just be like, here's my body.
But I'm not Brock Lesnar, so I really don't amount to much. So,
on a quick random note, guess what? I've gotten Kiki to start playing.
Earthbound.
Nope,
I
because he sold his Wii U, so he's not gonna be able to play it. But I finally got him to start up Skyrim.
Oh, nice.
Yep, I warned him. I was like, This is a commitment.
This is a life commitment. It really is, though, because I still know people who play that game.
Oh, I know. I told him, I was like, there's people that will sit there, and even though this game has been out for years, they still put in like easily 20, 40 hours a week into this game, even though they, cleared the main storyline.
There's people that say that you could play for several hundred hours and still find new stuff in the game that you've never seen.
It's true. Same thing as Fallout.
Have you guys?
I have friends that have beaten the game plenty of times, but they still obsess over playing Fallout.
Have you guys looked up No Man's Sky? Have you looked into that at all?
I think I briefly did.
That is the game that they're like, they've literally said that it would take you like over 1 billion years to complete this game. It's an open world that has randomly generated planets, and you can traverse from one planet to the next without ever seeing a loading screen. You can like fly down into a planet, go explore the planet, fly back out of the atmosphere, go to another planet, and it's just a completely open world that randomly generates planets and animals and everything.
I've seen
game.
What's that?
What do you do in the game though?
They haven't, as far as objectives are concerned, they've said is like there will be fights and battles and whatnot, but they haven't like come out and said this is.
No,
exactly
they
what
haven't
your
been very
objectives are gonna
open.
be. Yeah.
I've kind of looked into that game too, and it's, oh my god, beautiful looking.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Well,
looks.
see,
It looks
I
badass.
don't really want to play a game where I'm just like running around different planets and like looking at scenery.
Explore. No.
Like,
Well,
I
the guy
want to do
was
stuff.
shown carrying a weapon. The guy was shown carrying a weapon, and like at one point when he flew into space, they got into like a space battle with other ships or whatever that were flying,
Space battle.
and they
Star
shot him
Wars?
down, and then flew down onto another planet or whatever. So there's much much to be
gameplay,
learned about
very
it.
battle.
I think, we're yet to see really what the point of the game is, but it does look pretty sick.
The point of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you see all these cool planets, and it is a beautiful game, but, still we don't know anything, like, what's the point of it? What are you doing?
Right.
What's the objective? So, well, all right, guys. Well, I think until next time, I'm going to go ahead and close this up, and we'll call it a night.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, I'll see you guys later.
Talk to you
All
later.
right.